れ方は色が抜けたら真っ赤な綺麗なやつに変えてください。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I caught a whole bunch of aji, which in English is horse mackerel, and in this video I'll show you how to make aji sashimi. In particular, a special kind of sashimi, which is called scad zakuri. Scad in Japanese means body or shape or form, and in this type of sashimi you use the whole body of the fish as part of the presentation of sashimi. So thank you very much for watching, and let's get to work. First thing you'll need is a nice plump aji. Okay, and I'll just rinse it under the tap once just to get rid of some of the slime, and then we're going to descale it. And in just a regular household kitchen, I recommend get a newspaper. Like that. And in the case of aji, they have actually part of the, I don't know if you can see that, part of their lateral line is formed into these sort of scales like that. In Japanese it's usually called the zeigo. We're going to take that off first and then take the scales off. So, okay, that's one side. I'll do the other side now. So if you look now, that sort of scaly ridge of the lateral line is gone. And we can just use a knife to take off the scales. Okay, so particularly when you're going to eat the fish as sashimi, you just want to get rid of all the scales because it's just not nice to chew down on a scale. Obviously we're going to take off the skin, but it's just good just to get rid of all the scales first so it's nice and clean. Then I'll wash it under the tap. And then just dry your knife like this. Wipe off the scales. A couple of scales left on here, so I'm going to just wash these now. And then I'll just dry with a piece of paper at the end, okay? Okay. So now we've got our aji that's been descaled. I washed it on tap. That's the last time I'm going to wash this in fresh water. So the next thing we're going to do is take off the fillets of flesh, but we're actually going to leave the head on the rest of the body. So usually if you're just making regular sashimi, you just chop off the head now, but we want to preserve that. One cut like that, and then another cut. You want it behind the fin on either side at an angle. And then if you look for like the anal pore, quacker here, you put in the blade. There you go. We can, excuse me, we can hopefully take out the internal organs. And I'll use a piece of tissue paper just to really clean out the cavity. Okay. If you look closely inside the fish, there is like an area of like massed blood, clotted blood under here. Those are the main blood vessels of the body, also where the kidneys are. We want to get rid of that. So the fish is dead, so it's kind of congealed, and you can just use kitchen paper just to clean that up a little bit. See, it's there. Okay. You can remove the gills. Do these just with your fingers, actually. It's not important to take the gills off, but it's just visually slightly nicer to look. The fish looks cleaner that way. Okay, so the next part is we're going to take the fillets off the bone, and the place to start is you want to cut like guidelines into the flesh, both the abdominal side and then the dorsal side, and then use those guidelines to make a clean cut. We'll do that here. Okay, turn around, now we do the dorsal side. Now, we just use the initial cuts we made to cut further. Same on this side as well. Now we should be able to actually just remove this fillet by putting the knife in. Okay, and then we just cut away. that's one fillet done. And then we'll just repeat the process for the other side. We start on the abdominal level, we make a guideline cut. Turn it around and then make a similar guideline for the dorsal side, like this. Make the cut next time a little bit deeper. There we go. Superb. And then the other side. Still stuck to the forward part. Okay. We're basically done. Okay. Oh, there's a little bit still attached. Okay. So those are our two fillets. And this is the remaining bone of the fish which we'll actually be using. I'm going to just wipe this down nice and clean. Okay, the next part is we're going to take out the bones from the fillets and then take off the skin. So these are the bones. I guess they'd be kind of like ribs in people, and they sit either side of the abdominal cavity. In case of these bones, you want to keep as much of the flesh still on the fillet and lose as little as possible on the abdominal bones. So we've taken off these bones, but the fish also have so-called pin bones. Okay, and these run in a line along here. If you run your finger along there, you can actually feel them up to about here. So we've got to take those out. And the way you do it, just use a pair of tweezers and just get some kitchen towel and wet it. And the trick to this is you should support the rest of the fish fillet with your fingers, because if you just try and yank out the bones, it sometimes takes the flesh with it. So you just feel with your fingertip, oh, there's a bone, and then just pull it out. Maybe not. Okay, just pull it out like that. And then if you just touch this, your wet tissue paper, it takes the bone off the end of your tweezers. And we just repeat that until you can't feel any more bones. So there we go. You can just always double check. You just pick up the fillet and then just run your finger again. Okay, there's one right here. So it always amazes me how quickly professional sushi chefs can do this right after you order aji sushi, and they start to do this, and they do it in, whatever, 10 seconds. I take a bit longer than that. Please bear with me. Okay. We'll check once more on this side. And actually, this bone right here. Right there. There we go. I nearly missed that one. Check once more, just run your fingers on. That's perfect. And I'll just do the same for the other fillet. Okay. Okay, I'll just double check this fillet. It's fine, but there's a little bit of fat and bone attached to it, so I'll just get rid of that very quickly. Okay. The next part is we're going to take the skin off, then I'm going to slice it for sashimi. So I'm going to get a plate ready for this. Right, the first thing we'll need is a Japanese skewer, bamboo skewer, and we're gonna want the fish to be kind of sitting up like this. So we'll just pop it through the tail end, and then just quite literally just stick it in the head at the other end. So. Okay. Next, we're not just going to put the sashimi straight on here. We need to make like a foundation or a bed on which to place the sashimi. Most restaurants will use so-called suma, which is like finely chopped, shredded daikon. I'm not a big fan of that, so I tend to use just wakame leaves, which is seaweed. I just prefer eating it, so we'll just pop some of this in here, and all we're doing is just making a foundation for our sashimi. Okay, I'll probably do. And on top of that we'll put a layer of shisa leaves. I got these from my garden literally about 10 minutes ago, so just put one there and then one on top here. So it's actually 2 in there. Okay. Now we're going to take the skin off the aji. One side. The fish is actually really oily at this time of the year. It's difficult to get a grip on the skin. You can use a piece of tissue paper to hold on to it if necessary. So, that's what the fillets look like with the skin removed. Now all that's left is for us to place it on the dish. Do the other fillet as well. So it's actually scale in there. There's actually a lot of fish oil on here. Okay. And now all that's left is we just add yakumi, ginger, and then finely chopped spring onions. That's basically it. That's the scad tasakuri.